country of Iceland. Here's the flag. This is Iceland's official website. Sign up, click on it, and here's a map of Iceland. Historical development. Iceland's history is unique in that it established a form of parliamentary government earlier than nearly any other country in the world. In the year 1930, Viking settlers created the Althing of Thingvellir, which remains one of the oldest continuous parliaments in the world. For several centuries, Iceland was under Norwegian and later Danish rule. During this period, Iceland preserved much of its cultural identity, including its language and sagas, which reflect a deep value for storytelling, law, and independence. In 1918, Iceland became a sovereign kingdom in a union with Denmark, but it wasn't until World War II, during the German occupation of Denmark, that Iceland took full control of its foreign affairs. In 1944, amid the chaos of the war, Iceland officially became a republic through a national referendum. This modern era of self-rule laid the foundation for today's democratic institutions. Iceland's political culture, shaped by its isolated geography and resilient population, strongly emphasizes its civic participation and legal equality. Political regime. Iceland functions as a parliamentary republic with a clear separation between ceremonial and executive power. The president is elected by the public but holds many symbolic powers. Unlike in presidential systems, day-to-day governance is handled by the prime minister and the cabinet, who must maintain the confidence of the Althing, Iceland's 63-member unicameral legislature. Members of the parliament are elected every 4 years through proportional representation, which promotes multi-party democracy. Parties must build coalitions to form a government, meaning negotiation and compromise are essential to policymaking. While this can sometimes slow legislation, it ensures broad consensus and public representation. Iceland consistently ranks on global democracy indexes such as those by Freedom House and The Economist. Political participation is high, trust in institutions is strong, and corruption is minimal compared to global standards. Iceland is often cited as a model of stable and transparent democratic governance. Political conflict and competition. Although Iceland is a relatively stable democracy, political competition is very active. Since no single party has ever secured a full majority, coalition governments are the norm. The largest party is the Center Independence Party, which has often led governments, but left-leaning parties like the Left Green Movement and the Social Democratic Alliance play significant roles. The financial crash of 2008 was a major turning point in Iceland's political discourse. The collapse of its three largest banks led to widespread public protests, often referred to as the Thoughts and Plans Revolution. Citizens demand resignations, new elections, and even a new constitution, parts of which are still being debated. In 2016, the Panama Papers scandal revealed the Prime Minister held offshore assets, leading to more protests and his resignation. These events increased demand for transparency and reduced public tolerance for political elitism. Iceland has responded with anti-corruption reforms and increased scrutiny of financial and political practices. In short, political competition here is not just about ideology, it's about accountability. Society. Icelandic society is often held up as an example of what a high-functioning welfare state can achieve. With a population of just under 400,000, the country has managed to create an egalitarian, educated, and healthy society. Healthcare is universal and publicly funded. Education is free from preschool through university, and the literacy rates are among the highest in the world. Gender equality is a major point of pride. Iceland consistently ranks first in the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index. The government mandates equal pay and generous parental leave for both mothers and fathers. Women occupy high roles in business, academia, and politics, including recent prime ministers and the world's first democratically elected female president, Vigdis Finnbogadóttir. Immigration is growing, particularly due to tourism and construction. While Iceland was once almost ethnically homogeneous, now about 15% of residents are foreign-born. The integration of these communities is a current challenge for maintaining social cohesion. This table kind of just shows some of the parties and the Althing and their main focuses for the society. Political economy. Iceland has a small but highly developed economy. Historically, fishing was the backbone, and it still contributes significantly to GDP. The country enforces strict quotas to prevent overfishing and protect this vital resource. In the 20th century, Iceland harnessed its natural global thermal and hydroelectrical power to become energy independent, and now it supplies cheap renewable energy to both households and industries. Tourism has become Iceland's fastest growing sector, especially after the 2010 eruption of Eyjafjallajökull, which ironically put Iceland on the global map. Tourist numbers soared from 500,000 in 2010 to over 2 million by 2018. While this brought revenue, it also strained infrastructure, housing, and local services. COVID-19 caused a sharp dip in arrivals, exposing the risk of economic over-reliance on tourism. Iceland responded to its 2008 financial crisis in a way that drew global attention. Rather than bail out the banks, it let them fail and prosecuted several bankers. The recovery focused on debt relief, social safety networks, and monetary reform. Unemployment today is low, the standard of living is high, and the country routinely tops global rankings for quality of life and happiness. Current issues. Despite its strong institution, Iceland faces serious contemporary challenges. Housing market in Reykjavik is overheating, with locals increasingly priced out by rising rents and real estate speculation. Mental health concerns, particularly among the youth, are also on the rise. A trend worsened by the isolation of the pandemic. Climate change is another critical concern. Iceland's glaciers are melting rapidly, which threatens not only the environment but also tourism and hydroelectric powers. In response, Iceland has committed to becoming carbon neutral by 2040 and continues to lead international environmental initiatives. This graph illustrates the relationship between tourist arrivals and CO2 emissions over the past decade. As you can see, the tourism boom also coincided with rising emissions, especially from increased travel and consumption. While the economy benefits from tourism, it's clear that Iceland must now balance growth with sustainability if it wants to maintain environmental concerns.
Past 7 minutes, 7:20.
Alright. Foreign relations with the world. Iceland is geopolitically small but strategically important. It is a founding member of NATO and plays a key role in Arctic security, especially as a new trade routes emerge with melting sea ice. While not a member of the EU, it is part of the European Economic Area, which gives it access to the EU market without full membership. Relations with the U.S. are strong, particularly through NATO. The U.S. maintains a military presence at Keflavik, which serves a key monitoring station in the North Atlantic. Iceland also cooperates closely with other Nordic countries on issues like environmental policy, education, and human rights. On the global stage, Iceland often punches above its weight. It has taken leadership roles in advocating for LGBTQ+ rights, climate policy, and gender equality. In 2018, it became the first country to require equal pay certification by law. Iceland's diplomatic efforts reflect its internal values, small but principled, forward-thinking, and globally